All right, everybody, welcome to the Blacksmith Podcast. This is our Discord live on Saturday. Welcome to the Blacksmith Podcast, where we forge men over here. All right, so the Blacksmith Podcast, in a nutshell, started because a lot of guys just don't know what to do in today's world. They don't grow up with their dads, they don't grow up with father figures, and so they don't grow up with like basic manhood. They don't grow up with they usually don't get the creativity, motivation, and drive needed, right? And so I am trying to be a gap stop to that. And so over here, that's the direction we're going. We're trying to raise guys into men of principle, not just because they're a man or a male that got to 18. Over here, we talk about a lot of different things. If you check out the channel, we talk about there's a whole playlist called the Basics, where we talked about getting a hard skill, so a degree, a certification, or trade. We talk about soft skills, things that people normally don't talk about. So communication, leadership, teamwork. We talked about budgeting. A lot of people don't have a spending plan. A lot of people, and so they watch their money dwindle down, but they couldn't tell you why and what they spend it on because they don't have a budget of this is the exact amount of money I can spend for the month, and this is how much I should be investing uh, slash saving. Right, I'm not too big on saving over here on the podcast, and these Saturdays will show you why. Number four, we talk about investing, paying yourself first, right? Then we talk about time management. We talk about credit, the credit bureaus. We talk about the basics. We also, and Saturdays is specifically for investing or financial topics. So today, we have a couple things cooked up, and thank you for joining me today. I'm looking for somebody who does beats or or I need an opening theme, but I also looking for somebody who may be good with graphic design or splicing videos because I actually need an opening created, and I need some help on that. I'm just almost, I won't say a one man army. I do most of it myself, but like some of my brothers look up topics to talk about. I have another good buddy of mine, like he came on and taught the options class. So I'm about an 80, 90% army of one, but there are people that are helping me, and I really do appreciate their efforts, even my wife's efforts. So, anyway, to get into our topic, the first thing I'm gonna mention, right? If you work a job, if you have a 9 to 5, that's great. Is your 9 to 5 meeting your needs? If it's not meeting your needs, then understand you can't just sit there and do nothing. Um, Meeting your needs, meaning you should have a budget, right? And if you're 9 to 5, let's say you have to pay out $2,000 a month to bills, debt, whatever, right? And you're only bringing in $1,900 a month. Well, you, sir, are bleeding $100 a month. You have to stop that bleeding. And band-aids, financial band-aids don't work. There's no such thing really. You need a solution, and the solution shouldn't be to go yellow on your credit report every 30 days until it's just red and default, right? So if you have a 9 to 5, and it's in most people's 9 to 5 is hourly, right? The smart thing to do would be to pick up more hours. More hours at work equals more money. Trading time for money is something that the average man has to do, so we can all understand that. So if you can work more hours, and that will help solve your problem. If you can't work more hours and it is truly a 9 to 5, then that means you need a 5 to 9. That means you need a part time job or you need two full time jobs. And yes, it's going to take a lot out of you, but I've been there, I've done it. I was before I joined the Navy, and I know people may not know this about me, but I worked at a an institute that worked with special needs individuals that range from mental retardation to autism, all over the spectrum. And I did that job full time. What time did the school start? I think it was about 8 to 2, maybe 3. And we get out of work, and I do the after school program from, like, I don't remember, maybe it was like 2 to 5 or something like that, or 2 to 4. And so I would earn some extra money that way. And then, so that was an overtime opportunity, right? And then I would also go and drive over to a temp job that I got hired for, but it wasn't even an everyday thing. It was a mail warehouse, and you would have to you show up. A crowd of people would show up, and they would say, "Hey, we only got work for like 5 people," and then maybe 7 people. There may be 2 people there, so the 2 people would get in, but the 7 people they have to pick from. So it was my one of my older sisters and myself. We were always there, and they would always take us if nobody else. I think there was only once or twice in the beginning. Maybe I didn't get in, and on those days I was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna go home and get some rest," right? Um, but my point is this: I'm not telling you to do anything that I wouldn't do or haven't done, right? I've been there. And so if you are not making ends meet, don't just sit there and wait for the end, because the end is sure to come. And there are people are counting on you, and somebody needs to hear this. A lot of people probably need to hear this, but if you change nothing, then nothing in your life is going to change for the better. People say nothing changes if nothing changes. That's not true. If you change nothing, nothing changes for the better. But things can and most assuredly will get worse. Um, so, if you need to take up gig work, drive Uber, Uber Eats, get some Instacart going, something like that. There are several people lately that have had the same problem, and I keep giving the same solution. And really and truly, they don't really want to do it. Sorry, my lips dry, so I'm gonna go ahead and apply this on camera. Nivea, Nivea. Know what I'm saying? All right, so look, there's some people who've had a few people I've talked to recently have had the same problem, and I keep giving the same solution. You either need to work more hours, you need a part-time job, you need 2 full-time jobs, you need to do gig work. Don't sit there and wait for the end. All right. I think that horse is dead enough that we can stop beating the horse, beating them down. But let me see what my screen is showing y'all. All right. The first thing I want to cover today, chat, help me out, because I think there was something that I was asked to cover, but I just don't. I don't recall. There were a few things that I was supposed to cover, but it didn't take us long to get through that first segment. So, moving on to the second segment of the video, it's going to be showing what the market has done for the past week. And what you're looking at is my actual portfolio on Robinhood. It's my portfolio on Robinhood. I recently, I'll tell you another thing I did do was I opened an IRA on Robinhood as well. So I'm going to have money pulled out of my account on the regular and go into the IRA on Robinhood. I'm not maxing my IRA out with my job with the military right now, because I have I'm trying to get my money right so that I can retire. So I'm focusing on paying off debt. So I'm putting money into the stock market very little at a time on a weekly basis, but it's consistent, and I'm just making smarter trades. So I'm able to earn more money in the stock market that way. But my focus is wiping out the debt so that at 20 years in, which is about 3.5 years, I will be able to retire from the military if I want to and not have to stay military. See, solutions based. You got to be solutions based. You can't say, well, I just need to go to 30 years and because I got all this debt. No, work to pay the debt off now. You know you have it, pay it off, and then there you go. So I want my retirement money to be able to pay for all of my needs so that I can do this full time. This is where my heart truly is. Now I have given 16 and a half years of something I really didn't want to do in the first place. I mean, joining the military, unless you're Ivy League and unless you have a pedigree, your dad was an admiral or captain or something, it's not typically people's first choice. Although I believe the military to be a great choice for a lot of people, it's typically not everybody's first choice, and it wasn't mine. So, what I really want to do and passionate about doing is this right here. So, I've sacrificed in the military 16 and a half years. And I've been on deployments, 3 deployments. I've lost time with family. I've missed Christmases, birthdays, all sorts of things. But when my time is up, I want to be the one to decide whether I'm retiring or not. I don't want somebody else to decide you need to stay or you need to retire. I want that to solely be in my hands, and I want to be ready for the next chapter. So anyway, let's see what the stock market did. In the past week, it has recovered some. Look at that. It had some down days, right? That's really down. Almost 20%. Oh, wait, it wasn't at the bottom. Hold on. There we go. 26%. Jesus. All right. So the market went up and down this past week. The past month, don't look at it. Oh, 28.8%. All right, that's just me. But if your portfolios look anything like this, be comforted because it's everybody. It's just the market in general. But if you see in the past year, I'm still up. So I'm not worried. And let me show you one of the reasons. Well, I'll just tell you one of the reasons why I'm not worried. And I made a couple shorts about this is because if you look at Robinhood as a company, I have, where is it? 405 shares of this company, right? But look at the average cost, 22.69. I was buying these shares in the single digits when it fell way down. And here was my methodology, or here was my thinking behind it. Robinhood is a platform that people trade on, right? And it's bringing in all these new users every year. I'm trying to get this camera angle right. So y'all bear with me for a second. Maybe that's a better angle. I don't know. I'm standing up today, if y'all couldn't tell. So my lovely wife, she on my computer desk, she put this computer top thing here to where you can lift it up, raise it up. And so I'm standing up this week and say, yeah, I actually like it better than sitting down because I have these metal folding chairs and I had a pillow on it to raise myself up to. I like standing up. I like getting after it. All right. Anyway, so Robinhood brings in a lot of new users every year, every month, and I would dare say most people who started trading during or after the pandemic started with Robinhood. Robinhood is very user friendly. I've had other trading platforms, and I'm telling you, Webull and some of the other ones, for me, I'm not saying they're bad. They ain't gonna sue me, but I'm not saying they're bad. They were tough for me to figure out. I did not find them user friendly. Now, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed either, so I'm just gonna say, I found Robinhood way more user friendly. Robinhood have so the new users, user friendly. Robinhood have spearheaded a lot of stuff like 24-hour trading of over 1,000 stocks. Brought on a lot of different cryptocurrencies that a lot of other platforms would not allow you to trade on there. XRP is now on there. What's another one? I can't remember. There was some of them, but XRP, let's just mention that one. Also, they have the cheapest transaction fees around. I think they only charge like 25 cent per transaction, I believe. Let me see. Let me see if I can find out. Hold on. Let's say buy in dollars. No, let's say buy in shares. Give me one share. Estimated cost 39.21. That is not the estimated cost. What's the cost? See, if I push buy, it's gonna buy it. I don't want to do that. I don't know. I'm trying to find the transaction fees, but I do know comparatively they have some of the they have the lowest transaction fee out of all of the other ones, and I would almost stake my reputation on that. Robinhood is fantastic, and if you weren't a part of their earnings call, you can view. I think 2, 3 weeks ago we went over the earnings call on that one. But anyway, the reason why I'm not concerned is because I bought this stock low. So 405 shares, the average price is this. So with them being at $39, that is their 52-week high is, where is it? 66 something. There it is. 66.91. They're way down from their 52-week high. That's almost 50%. That's like 45. I did it the other day, right? And I will tell you this, that's why I'm not concerned, because I know it's going to go back up, and I know it's going to be a staple company that's going to be around for a while, right? So that's why I'm trying to help you guys and gals. So there's some gals in here. I want to help you buy smartly, right? Now, the my point in saying all of that is the market has recovered some from the drought that it's been in. Now, is it going to go up and stay up? I'm not too certain about that yet. If you look at geopolitical things in the world, if you look at the fact that we just had a new president a couple months ago, if you know anything about the trends, the first 2 years of a presidency are typically bad for the market because businesses and whatnot, they're trying to figure out the president and the direction they're going to go, or the new direction they're going to go. They have to adjust to it, right? So a lot of companies recently sold off their shares in other companies that they had, such as this one right here. SoundHound AI, NVIDIA had a bunch of shares that they sold off and they took profit. Why? Because there could be a myriad of reasons. I don't know exactly why they took profit, but one reason that the stock market has fallen down is because a lot of companies did take profit, right? And one of the reasons they took profit is because they had their earnings calls coming up and they need to increase their revenue for the earnings calls. The second reason is because there's so much uncertainty in the world right now, and it depends on what they were investing in. If they're investing in TSM, Taiwan Semiconductor, and things are heating up with China threatening to take over their country, right? They might sell off their shares just in case something jumps off, because if something does jump off, that stock's going to go through the floor and they're going to lose their whole investment. So they're taking profit where they can. Anyway, let's see what we got in the chat, because I saw there was something there. Here's a question asked a couple days ago in the chat. I think it would be interesting to discuss the trajectory of the market and if any major players like banks are shifting their money into any particular kinds of stock or crypto. That's in quotations. That is not a question, sir. No, I'm just playing. No, I'm not kidding. It's not a question, but no, I got you. Thank you. That's actually my brother too. So I'm telling y'all, shout out to him. He's been loyal in being on these discords every Saturday. And see, that is somebody who actually wants to learn. Um, so for him, thank you. I appreciate that. Let's talk about that. So, and funny enough, I just started going there, right? So you have a lot of companies like BlackRock. They're investing in a lot of real estate. The reason why the common man is finding it hard to invest in real estate is because companies like BlackRock, they're buying up a lot of real estate as a company. So when you think you as the common man, sorry, I'm multitasking. I got you. I'm multitasking. Um, when you think you as a common man are gonna come and just go to a perfect market where um, somebody's gonna the houses are just gonna be cheap for you, no, you're not. And what's gonna happen instead is you're gonna go to a market where the prices have gone way up because supply and demand, right? So if you look at it, they if they're buying up all of the homes because they're a business and they're able to buy because they have all that money, what does that do? They're buying up the supply, but you have all these uh, normal everyday people looking for homes. The demand is still there, and they're buying up the properties that are cheaper as well. And you know what they'll do? They'll have a property manager manage the company, manage the real estate, so they make it a rental property. So not only did they flat out buy the property cash, they're making it a rental property. Now, why does it matter that they bought the property? Because homes appreciate, which means to raise in value over time. That's why you want to invest in stock. Look at this, SoundHound AI, right? I have 700 shares at 8.5. I mean 8.75, $8.75 a share. And I have, what am I up? $1,000, almost 1,100. This stock was up in the 20s before. In fact, see right here, it was up in December to 23.95, at which time it was up over 204%, right? In the past year. Now that is phenomenal. You're not returns like that don't exist. The last 5 years of the stock market has really been crazy with tech booming over 2, 3, 400% for some companies. That is not normal. Don't get used to it. Know what a good company is like, and know that 10% growth a year for a company is good. Thus, 20% is great. Thus, 30% is excellent. Thus, 40% and up, that's a super stock, in my opinion. Over here, that's what we take it. 40% growth and up, you're a super stock. So SoundHound AI has had 30% growth in the last year. Um, but I mean, it's a super stock. Let's be real. Look at this. It only came down recently, but the reason why you want to buy stocks low is because you're looking for the equity. You're looking for the price growth, the value growth. Price is what you pay, value is what you get. So the price I paid was $8.75, but the value, right? And I didn't sell it here because I know this company is going to be around for a while. As soon as I heard Nvidia was investing in it, I was like, yes, let's go. The fact that Nvidia invested in it at all tells you that it's a solid company. A company like Nvidia would not have invested in this company just because it's the new kid on the block and take a chance on their earnings. Nvidia has been a company that the market actually has depended on for the last 2 years. So no, they would not have made that investment. So follow what the companies that are really earning the revenue does. Let me make sure I'm hitting this question, this supposed question in the chat. You think it'd be interesting to discuss the trajectory of the market? Okay, copy. And then if any major players like banks are shifting. Okay, so honestly and truly, banks 4 years ago really tried to shake people off of the cryptocurrency trajectory. They really tried to. And um, what some people let the banks do that to them, but you know what the banks did? They quietly went and bought cryptocurrency. Um, they quietly went and invested into what's the name? Bitcoin, quietly, right? Because Chase JP Morgan Chase, I'm just going to use them as an example. If they told you cryptocurrency is bad and it's you shouldn't invest in it because it's unstable, it's not centralized. Let me tell you a couple of quick things about that. First of all, understand JP Morgan Chase is a for-profit bank. Now they're a reputable one. They've been around for a long time, a lot of prestige in that bank. But understand the difference between a credit union and a bank. A credit union is made up of members all from a certain like social circle, like Teachers Federal or Teachers Credit Union is made up of teachers. USAA is made up of veterans. Navy Federal, same thing, right? JP Morgan Chase could have been some rich dude who decided that he was going to start a bank, right? I don't know the history about it, but get what I'm saying. Banks charge you the most money and lend you the least amount of money. Credit unions charge you the least amount of money and lend you the most amount of money. So if you had a 700 credit score with every bureau, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, and you had great credit history, we'll break down the parts of credit score, the 35, 30, 15, 10, 10. Those are percentages that make up your whole credit score in a later one, maybe next week, maybe. We'll see what the chat wants to do. But let's say all things being equal, 700 credit score Chase, 700 credit score Navy Federal. What's going to happen is Chase will say, great, here's a credit card, $3,000 limit. Now, it does depend on your income. So let's say you earn 50 grand a year, right? 300,000, 300. Here we go. Wait. All right, reset. $3,000 limit. 22% interest. Great, you've been approved. Navy Federal, however, is going to say, you know what? Yes, I got you, Miss Sanchez. Thank you. I see that. Navy Federal is going to say, you've been approved at $10,000, and there's a 9 or 12.9% interest. See the difference? One is out to make the most money, and one is out to give the best level of service to the customer. And the best level of service for the customer, and they will still earn money. It doesn't mean they're working for free because they're not for profit, but they're not publicly traded on the stock market because their intent is not to like bleed everybody dry. So they're not going full speed on charging everybody the most amount of money. What they're actually doing is they're in the green. They're at a level where they'll still earn money and they can still hire people and they can still earn a profit from the business. However, the customer gets the better deal. That's the difference. Now, why does that matter? Because a bank is going to tell you that anything that is unlike the norm is bad. So banks are centralized. They do have a ranking structure. They do have a corporate. They do have VPs. They do have a CFO, a chief financial officer. They do have a CEO, the chief executive officer. They have a vice president of mergers and acquisitions. So they're centralized. You can tell who's who in the zoo inside of that. Bitcoin, who's the CEO? Who's the CFO? You don't know, right? So they're going to say, ooh, that's scary because you don't know they could close this coin down tomorrow and then you would lose your investment. And you know what? They would be right. But couldn't they also close Chase down tomorrow and you lose your investments? Let's just say everything went to crap. If we're going to do a, what if we were at a world war and a bomb struck the central bank of Chase and it blew up the servers and Chase is down? We could do a zombie apocalypse scenario, but you have to understand the bank has every reason to tell you not to trust crypto while investing in it themselves while it's extremely low. If you think Chase Bank, BlackRock, and all these financial institutions have not gotten their feet dipped into crypto, you are out of your mind. or you're just uneducated, and that's what I'm here for today. So I appreciate somebody putting that question slash comment in the chat. So, okay, the trajectory of the market. Sorry, I had to check the chat real quick. I gotta pay attention to y'all too. I'm on here for y'all, right? So the trajectory of the market is pretty darn simple. Nobody knows. The end. All right, Forge is going cold. No, I'm just kidding. So look, the trajectory of the market is like this. Nobody really knows, but historically, again, because some people just joined, right? The first 2 years of a presidency, hopefully my hands are far enough back from the camera, y'all can't see how ashy I am. I came from the gym, I washed my hands. I shouldn't even said that because you probably couldn't tell. It's like powder. I'm just kidding. All right, so look, the trajectory of the market is like this. The first 2 years of a presidency, right, is usually riddled with uncertainty. Uncertainty of if what they campaigned on they're actually going to do. Some candidates don't really present a good plan of what they're going to do while they're campaigning, but they might be wildly more popular than other people, or they might have just edged the other person, right? But there's a stark difference in what they campaign on and what they do sometimes. So, financial institutions, the whole world is waiting to see what is this president going to do. And if you look, President Trump has appointed Elon Musk to be the head of DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. And there have been some wild changes, or they're about to be. Government employees know that their employment is not so secure anymore. Work from home is being, like people who offend folks in this culture, canceled. Um, so, with those kind of things, uh, the stock market is going to fluctuate because businesses are like, wait, we're invested in Palantir, and Palantir is they work with the government a lot, right? They have a lot of contracts. If they're canceling stuff with the government, should we invest in Palantir? So now let's look at Palantir. Oh, good old Palantir. There we go. All right, so Palantir. This was Fridays. This is not today. Um, and one way you know is if the line, it's first of all, it's Saturday, but they do have 24-hour trading on some stocks. But if you look, Palantir's line goes all the way across. That's hourly across the day, right? So this is Fridays. This was yesterday's. So they opened at roughly $79, it looks like. All right, you get it. Almost $80, whatever. So and then they earned 862, and then they went up 31 cents after hours as well, right? So they had an 8.5% incline or increase for the day. But now let's look at Palantir and hold on to your hats. So in the past week, they're actually up almost 2%. But in the past month, and my portfolio has felt it, they're down 29%. Past 3 months, they're actually up 15%. Year to date, they're up almost 14%. But in the past year, this is a super stock. If this stock was in Dragon Ball Z, this stock is a Super Saiyan 3. Like, seriously, I'm a nerd. I've been watching Dragon Ball Z since I was little. All right, whatever. If you don't get the reference, look up Goku. Just Google it. Goku with the yellow hair. Just look that up. That's what that is. So compared to every other stock, this people get the Superman reference, right? And you don't have to be a nerd to know who Superman is. So a regular person compared to Superman. This stock is definitely Superman, and not the first version in the comic books either. This is like Superman Prime. Anyway, my total return is down 5%. Why? Because my average cost was 91 bucks. Now, I bought 3 shares of this company when this company was, it wasn't maybe even $86. It was like 70 something bucks, I believe. maybe in the 40s or 50s, I think, actually. And I started adding to it later on, but it was already on the crazy growth spurt that it had, right? I plan on keeping Palantir, so the fact that I'm down 4% doesn't bother me. But let's look at his 52-week high. Look at that, $125. Thus, this stock is probably down from his 52-week high, probably 40%. That's probably about 40%, right? Um, let me see. Let me see if I can do math today. Now, y'all know I get it wrong sometimes. Let's get that good old calculator. Now, what are we doing? 86 divided by, what was it, 125? What am I doing? Oh, there we go. Okay, so it's down about 31%. So that's 69%. You just move the decimal place twice, right? So it's down about 31%. So if you ask me, and I'd have bought it right here. Wait, this is January, and the stock market took a tumble after that. So let's see, where did it bottom out? $76. That would have been a great price to buy. It's still a great price to buy right now, but the $125, some of that was inflated, right? This stock blew up over, this stock, I think, was at 400 and something percent for the year in December. I believe it was up that much. Let me see if it'll tell me. What is this? Yeah, see, 399. I'm trying to get it on this little peak right here. Yeah, see, 422%. That's unrealistic. A company cannot keep growing at that rate. That's unrealistic, right? So some of this was inflated. So some of it is just deflating, and then some of it is the trajectory of where the world is going. Um, the uncertainty in the White House, geopolitical stuff. They just had earnings calls, I think. I think they did do their earnings call. I still haven't figured out how to find this because I'm gonna have to. Here it is. All right, so let's go over theirs real quick. So we want to know the trajectory of the market, right? Let's look at what Palantir's Tom back. Not talking about TUM apostrophe BAT, Tom back. I don't really speak like that, but I think ignorance is hilarious sometimes. All right, so look, how will the new Chinese AI model, DeepSeek, see what I'm saying? Geopolitical stuff can affect the stock market. Impact Palantir, and how can Palantir mitigate its impact? I don't know why I'm leaning in. I got 2010 vision after my eyeball transplant. No, I'm just kidding. I got refractive surgery in 2015. I got a LASIK, and I can see this from across the room. I don't know why I'm leaning in like I'm 80 years old. Anyway, so now let's see what the CTO said. Let's go to more. More. All right. Well, I think one of the obvious lessons of DeepSeek R1 is something that we've been saying. Hold on. Y'all read this. I gotta let my dog in because she's scratching at the door. I'm gonna mute the mic this time. Come on in, Roxy. She's bougie. All right, so well, I think one of the obvious lessons of DeepSeek R1 is something that we've been saying for the last 2 years, which is that the models are commodity. Commodity. Oh, commodity. Commodity. Jesus. That. That. Chat, be quiet. Yes, they're getting better across. I don't know. Why is that such a terrible word? It's commodity. So it's commoditizing. Commoditizing. Why couldn't I say that? Anyway, yes, they're getting better across both closed and open AI. That's what they're talking about. But they're also getting more similar, and the price of inference is dropping like a rock. But I think the real lesson, the more profound one, is that we are at war with China. Y'all heard that? Look, can't sue me. Palantir CTO said it. Can't sue me. All right. So we're and they're talking about a technology war, right? But if you didn't know that, you haven't been paying attention for I don't know how long. We have been locked in an arms race, a cyber arms race with Country Red for I don't know how long. And when I was little, Japan actually used to be the technology giant. But anyway, all right, let's see what we got. We're in an AI arms race, and I got this. I got into a disagreement with Sam Altman. Do y'all know who that is? Let's see who Sam Altman is. I know who it is. Y'all know this guy? If you don't know this guy, you should know this guy. Why should you know this guy? Best for his work on OpenAI. Sam Altman. He's a very rich guy, very rich guy. You should know this guy. So, the way people know Bill Gates for Microsoft, the way they knew Steve Jobs for Apple, the way you know Elon Musk for Tesla, you should also know Sam Altman. Why is he so rich? Look, from his investments in startups and venture capital funds, he's the CEO of OpenAI. Sam Altman is a very, very important figure when you're talking about the arms race. Know who this guy is? I pulled up a picture of him so you could see him. Sam Altman. Know that name, commit it to memory. Elon Musk is not the only mover and shaker in this AI arms race. All right. So he got into a disagreement with Sam Altman about this at the Senate AI Summit over a year ago. You need to know what that is too. Um, where I was arguing that we're in an AI arms race and there's an opposing view that we can all get along and we can cooperate on these things. And I'm sure the other side feels quite different. It should be differently, realizing that their IP has been stolen in this process here. And he's right. In my opinion, there's no way we can get along with this. We can't even get along on our politics and how to run different countries. If they're saying we, as in different countries, no. You're talking about a communist country and a democratic country. At a national level, I believe we are a democratic republic, right? So there is no way we don't even see eye to eye on how to best lead our people, right? Or best serve our people, right? So there's no way. Sorry, my back is bothering me too much lifting and not enough rest. Um, there's no way we're going to get along on this stuff. This is the biggest reason they were going to cancel TikTok. If you have a TikTok account, this is what I want you to do. I don't want you to make a fake account, but you should look up and I guarantee nobody even read it. Now, one of my younger brothers, the oldest younger brother, I know he did. If you open TikTok and you look at their privacy act and the thing you have to agree to in order to use TikTok, to utilize TikTok, Lord have mercy, you ought to be scared, but a lot of people just want to be entertained. And so they want to scroll so bad and be entertained and be drooling and just thumb up the next video that they didn't even read it. They grab your IP address, they grab what kind of device you're using, they grab your carrier you're using. They are grabbing a lot of your information and you let them do it because you agreed to it. And they're a whole country that is like spying on us, which is why they wanted to ban TikTok. And that's one of the reasons, right? It's not the whole reason. Obviously, Facebook, they're in a competition with Meta, right? So that's Facebook, that's IG, Snapchat, WhatsApp. They also own that too, right? They're in a race with Elon Musk and X, or what used to be Twitter, right? Threads is also from Meta. They're in a social media arms race as well with them. So that's another reason. So if you want to know the trajectory of the market, you got to come in here and read these questions and listen to these earnings calls. These things are so much more than just where the company's headed. They're telling you why the company's headed the way they're headed. And the first thing they dealt with was geopolitical. They're talking about DeepSeek, right? And DeepSeek was the AI that China made. And it doesn't matter if you pay for it or not. They own everything that you make on DeepSeek. You got to start reading this stuff. Stop just accept all so I can get to it. No, you need to read it. All right. Anyway. All right. So this war started long ago, and it is an economic war. I'm just going to lean in, whatever. I keep doing it. So I must need to. It is an economic war with the extension of China to the World Trade Organization, the greatest IP theft in history, the greatest wealth transfer in history. It is an opium war. The number one cause of deaths of 18 to 45-year-olds in this country is fentanyl. Are y'all listening? Do you hear me? Huh? That is coming from China. It is a diplomatic war. The Belt and Road Initiative is basically indentured servitude for other countries to the CCP here. And the unprecedented phase zero gray zone operations of the CCP, how many times are we going to believe that anchors are dragged across the sea that cut undersea cables here? We are not. So if y'all don't know what he's talking about, y'all should research all of this. You have it up on your screens now. If you can do split screen, if you're on a desktop, you should do split screen. Don't not pay attention to the blacksmith. You can still hear me. But you should take this, screenshot this, whatever you need to do, and look this stuff up to see what he's talking about. So there's cables undersea, under the water, going across, bringing information across the world, right? And those cables got cut, and they're trying to say that it was just ships dragging anchors. First of all, let me tell you something. If you think an anchor chain is like 8 miles long and can drag the body, you know how deep the sea is? First of all, I don't think, whatever. I'm just telling y'all, this guy is actually speaking a lot of facts, and I know people like to jump up facts, but I'm just saying this guy's speaking a lot of facts, and look at what he's saying. It's all geopolitical. He's not talking about, now I know he was asked about DeepSeek specifically, but why isn't he talking about the company itself in the direction they're going or whatever? Because DeepSeek is all geopolitical, and that is an AI thing. So that's another thing to answer your question in the chat that you had asked. The direction of the market. Remember, for the last 5 years, the direction of the market has really been driven by what sector? Technology, right? And this is one of the newcomers to that sector that has been a staple. The Fantastic Seven used to be Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, why can't I think? Tesla, what were the other two? I can't think, but that's 5 of them, right? If I had to add 2 new, NVIDIA was one, and so that's 6. Come on, come on, come on, come on. I'm getting old, but I ain't that old. I can't remember the 7. I can't. However, Amazon, that's the other one, right? So unless I said Amazon already, I don't think so. But that's the Fantastic 7, right? As they're still referred to, right? Some of those I would replace. I would put Palantir in. If you didn't want to replace any of those companies, add Palantir. Now you got a Fantastic 8, an 8th world wonder, right? So what this CTO is saying is absolutely important. And if it's important for them, listen to what he's saying. He's not just talking about something that is specific to Palantir. He is talking about something that is specific to America. He's talking about something that's specific to any tech company because it's AI. And he's talking about something that's specific to every American citizen as well because he's talking about IP theft. And this is what I brought up with TikTok, right? So understand what rights, privileges, and privacies you're giving up just using these different platforms, okay? Anyway, let's read the rest of it. Let's get through this. But I think one of the things China knows they're at war. The question is, we kind of equivocate on it as a peace-loving nation. But one of the things I want to make sure we all do is realize that the engineering in R1 is exquisite. The optimizations that they've done are really impressive. And I don't think you can get away with a facile explanation that the Chinese just copy and we're the only innovators. We have to wake up with the respect for our adversary and realize that we are competing. But they absolutely did steal a lot of that through distillation of the modules, and perhaps they even stole more. So what he's talking about here, don't sit there and listen to the news because even they have an agenda, and the news doesn't. We have to deal with the fact that, okay, we live in 2025. And again, when we were talking about last week and the week prior, I believe, we were talking about life insurance and we were talking about pensions and stuff like that, where parents would say, work a job for 20, 30, 40 years, retire, get the pension, get Social Security, you'll live a good life. Those, that's flown the coop a long time ago. We can't keep bringing old solutions for new problems. And that's what he's talking about here, right? We got to stop listening to the news and people who are not in the sector. That news anchor is an anchor for CNN, Fox News, what's another one? MSNBC, ABC. They're a news anchor. What do they really know? They remember they have papers in front of them, right? You'll see them do this, and then, well, the next story is they're just reading. They're not coming up with that stuff themselves, and they have an obligation to the public they have an obligation to the owner of the news network to put out what they want put out. So if the owner of the news network, let's say, is not in the tech sector, or let's say they are, and they don't want you to totally sell off all your shares in the tech sector because of what you heard, do you think they're going to tell their news anchors to put out doom and gloom? No, they will not do that. So they're getting on the news saying that, oh yeah, we're the innovators and the Chinese just stole everything from us. You are sick in your head, because I'm going to tell you right now, the Chinese absolutely understand that. Oh, we just had somebody join in Discord, y'all. Say hello. All right, let's go back to the channel. Here we go. All right, so the Chinese are so technologically advanced, and if you hadn't been paying attention, again, start paying attention. Why are we bringing doctors from Asian countries? India is a big one, right? Think about it. Medicine, technology. Those are three. I meant to say engineering as well, so I can count. Medicine, technology, engineering, which can almost go into technology, I guess. But let's say two then. No, because they bring a lot of engineers from over there. So three things that we really go to Asian countries for are medicine, technology, and engineering. And I'm going to tell you right now, those are some of the best ones. I'm trying to think what that country is, what that company is, but they have. If you look at some of the Fortune 500 companies, they have Indian cats as their CEOs. In fact, I think the CEO of Pepsi is an Indian woman. Um, because she was doing I don't remember what kind of press talk she was doing. I saw it last year, but she was talking about how hard it was. She was really saying it was impossible to lead a company as a woman and then also be a wife to her husband and be a mom to her daughter. So she basically said she told her husband, and I don't know what husband was saying for this, but hey, that's his life. But he said she told him. I'm sorry, she said she told him, and all the women in the crowd were laughing. You could hear people ha 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 in the crowd, and there was way more women laughing. They didn't turn the cameras around, so I don't know if it was guys in the crowd or not. But if you're in this chat and you're a mom, this probably shouldn't be funny to you, right? But she told her husband that he comes third because first comes her business, her company that she leads, second comes the daughter, and third comes him. And if he wasn't okay with that, oh well, she had nothing for him. So and I don't know how I got on this topic, but it was just something I saw. But oh, Indian, right? So Indians are not Middle Eastern. If you didn't know, the line of demarcation between the Middle East and Asia, the last so India's here, and then you have Pakistan, and after Pakistan, the line of demarcation cuts off. So Pakistani, they're also Asian. If you didn't know, you got to read up on your history. Kublai Khan, Genghis Khan, they conquered all over Asia and they went all up into Russia and stuff too. So Europe is one continent, but it's actually called Eurasia and it's actually two, right? I put up four fingers, but you see what I did there. So anyway, um, what he's basically saying is stop believing the age old lie that America is the only innovators and China's stealing from us. No, they innovate a lot, is what he's saying. And let me tell y'all something if you didn't know this either. And I found this out when I was going through grade school. Most countries go to year round school. We take so many holidays off during the year, we couldn't see a world where we didn't go year round. In China, they get 1 day off of work a year, and that is for it's like a religious holiday. I can't remember what it's called, but they go to like the temple and worship and pray and all of that kind of stuff. They don't take all of these national holidays off. There ain't no 96s and 72s off of work. They work every day. And their country is completely different. Their kids are learning algebra in like the fourth or fifth grade, whereas we start learning it on average. If you're early, usually eighth grade, maybe ninth grade, those kids are way in front of us because they've been going to school. Their primary focus for their children is learning. They need them to be the next group of adults that are going to be smarter. They're going to carry on, but actually further what the adults nowadays are doing. I would argue that our kids are actually going backwards in society because we can't even focus and agree on what we want to teach them. We're trying to do less academics and put more woke stuff in the schools than actually teaching them academics. We want them to have days off versus days in where they're actually learning. We're not focused on GPAs and it. So what he's getting at is America's different than China, and China is actually a threat. That's what he's saying right here. So if you want to know the why the market has drowned down, there's a couple things I just covered, right? I covered earnings calls and companies wanting to have that revenue, so they sold off their shares so they could get it to cover their butts in their earnings calls. Geopolitical stuff, which tied into, well, uncertainty in the presidency, that's a big one, right? And then we just went over geopolitical stuff and we're by looking at the Palantir call. And the top question was this from this guy, Kamal D, a retail shareholder, asked about DeepSeek. In the AI, and the AI race. And so, I mean, we could do another one. Is it only two questions on here? I think it's just two. Um, let's see if this one isn't so long. We might do this one. Christina P, a retail shareholder, asked, "Why am I leaning in again?" I guess this is comfortable. Whatever. What is so unique about on the ontology? How does it give you an edge over your competitors, and why wouldn't any of them be able to recreate something similar? Ontology. I was thinking oncology, not ontology. Okay, this one's long. All right. Well, maybe not. Maybe not do this one. But this is on Robinhood. If you go to Palantir, even if you don't own a share, you can actually view the earnings call. Scroll down far enough and you'll find it. In fact, where is it? No, go back, go back, go back, go back. Where was it? Where was it? Scroll down underneath the analyst. Oh, there we go. Shareholder Q and A's. That's where you'll find anybody's earnings calls. And if you really want to learn about more of this stuff, uh, that's what you should do is look at this. Chat, what do we got? Are we secured for the day? Does this answer everybody's questions? Oh, one thing, I asked my brother to look up, right? And I see it's actually up here in the tab, was Costco. I wanted to go over Costco and why this is a great stock for you to have in your portfolio. Now, first, I'm gonna scare you a little bit. Cost of the co. I'm gonna scare you. Yes, it is actually $902 per share. Yes. So for me, I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't have cost of the co. In fact, I'll show you the truth right here. So show more. Look, I've only ever owned two shares of Costco. I got a little dividend from it, and then I actually sold it, right? So I've only ever owned two shares of Costco, and look how much it was. But this was 4 years ago. So in 4 years, that stock has nearly doubled. Nearly. Well, this one, yeah, this is a near double. But that'd be what? Whatever, you get it. Anyway, so yeah, Costco is $902. So if you look, past week down 6%, past month down 14%, almost 15%, past 3 months almost 9, year to date down 1.5%, but in the last year up 23%. Remember, I said a good stock was 10%, a great stock was 20%, right? In the past 5 years, look, quadruple, because double is 100%. Remember that, right? So in the past 5 years, it's quadruple. Because it's up 600. Well, that would be triple. Sorry, that'd be triple. It's up $600. So that means it was $300. So times three. Yeah, there we go. Anyway, um, just understand that. Look, this is a great company, and let's talk about why. So Costco was a company that I definitely don't think anybody would push back on this. But Costco is a company that was COVID. I'm not trying to say that. What am I trying to say? Pandemic proof. Pandemic proof. Because they were canceling people for saying the C word. I don't know why. Stupid. But they don't want people telling the truth or fearing. And I'm not here to get canceled. This is a Blacksmith podcast, not the Crash Out podcast. Anyway, look at the 52-week high, $1,000, right? And it's currently at 881 or 8 something, 902. So the 52-week low is 697. I don't think it's going to go down to this again. But even look, the 52-week high, where was that high? Right here in February? Yeah, so in February. So now look, from February, where it was at $1,000, and now it's at 902 thousand what? 71. So is that like 10% down? Um, maybe almost 20. This stock is not going to shrink down to $700 again. the 52-week low. It's not going to do it. It's just not going to do it. This stock is really, if it's pandemic proof, this is a solid stock, and there's a couple of reasons why. First of all, Costco is a great company. It's a buy and bulk company. Throughout the pandemic, it proved that it could still get supplies and it could still sell supplies. It is a company that it's a business that people needs. It sells consumables, right? And it has a solid business plan. They did their earnings call as well. So they're saying, is it a buy, sell, or hold in 2025? If you have Costco stock and you sell it, something's wrong with you. It does pay a dividend that's less than a percent. Is about 0.51, I think it was showing. But in my opinion, something's wrong with you. Where was it? It was down here, earnings, right? Yeah, I don't see it. I don't know if did they do their quarter four? They had to have. I guess it's right here. Oh, replay earnings call, right here. But my brother, he actually looked this up and he sent me the Cliff Notes. So let me see. Let me go through those. All right. Some of the Cliff Notes he showed me was, God darn, he sent me a lot. All right, this is what he's got so far. Their mission statement is to continually provide the members with quality goods and service. They absolutely do that. When you go to Costco, I don't know, it doesn't have the reputation of Popeyes where you pull up to the window, what y'all want? And people's got attitudes. I don't know if that's what y'all have dealt with. The Motley Fool is actually a good um, place to get your information. They're pretty reputable. But anyway, back to what I was saying. They hire friendly, customer service oriented people. Typically, you don't hear customer service problems with Costco because they want to make sure the people are friendly. They want you to have a good shopping experience. They'll find you what you need. So they have a solid plan. Now, the next thing, markup. Costco aims to offer the best possible value to its members by keeping product markups incredibly low, often between 10 and 15%. So typically, a company, if they're going to make about 10% gains on their product, and that's typically a good margin, right? So 10 to 15, it means they're not overpricing their products. They're getting it wholesale and they're trying to nearly sell it to you for wholesale. And they make their money by volume. They're not trying to mark things up 30, 40, 50% and charge the customer the most money possible. They're trying to sell it to you as cheap as possible. And it's kind of like the Walmart um, uh, I forget the word I was going to use, but model, the Walmart model. Walmart did this. They put a lot of mom and pop stores out of business because they got all their stuff at market cost. Or what am I trying to say? What's the term? Below market cost. It's I just said it. They bought in bulk. Anyway, they got it for very low, so they sold it to you very low. So they put mom and pop businesses out of commission. And there's a whole documentary about Walmart and why mom and pop small towns like hate them because they put everybody out of business. Um, anyway, wholesale. That's the term I was trying to come up with. Anyway, so loss offset. He said by keeping prices low and relying on membership fees, Costco can effectively offset any potential losses incurred from selling products at low margins. So basically, they're saying by selling this stuff to you cheaply, they're able to offset their losses because they're gaining more and more customers, right? So they're offsetting their losses by volume. That's what I just said. Uh, okay, he just sent me a message too. Costco approximately earned $4.6 billion in membership fees in the fiscal year ending in September 1st, 2024, representing a significant portion of their profits, roughly 73% of all their total profits. See, I told you I'm not a one-man show over here. I do have some help, and that was one of my brothers right there. All right, we're gonna almost end this. So when I get through with Costco, chat, if you got any final questions, ask them now, because once I get done with Costco, the Forge is gonna go cold. If not, all right. So merger, Price Club merger in 1993. Price family bought out in 1994 for $10 million, rebranded back to Costco in 97. So there was a merger that took place also that helped them set up for the future. Acquisition, 2020 Innovel in Novel Solutions, logistics company for $1 billion, acquired to improve distribution and meet growing customer demand. Okay, so supply and demand is important, right? Now, here's the thing about supply and demand. Again, if there is a demand for the product, the product is now the cost of the product goes up because people value it more by requesting it more. So because the demand is high, so what they do is they will the price of that item will raise up, right? So but you also have an obligation to meet the demand of the customer. So instead of saying we can't meet the demand, well, that's a loss of money. If you have a business mindset, you acquire a logistics company that maybe has warehouses all over that can store your product all over the country, right? And then they have truckers that will get that product, planes that will get that product to the people faster. Logistics, so acquisitions. We as Costco, and that's one thing that's important to say as well. Sometimes the company itself doesn't do everything. What they do is they will acquire another company that specializes in that thing so they can have tunnel vision on the main thing. They keep the main thing, and acquire somebody else. That's why the mergers and acquisitions department is so important. And they have to constantly look at other companies that they could acquire to absolutely increase the proficiency of their business. All right. Private label. Kirkland Signature is Costco's private label, meaning Costco doesn't produce the products, but rather contracts with other manufacturers to produce them and then sells them under the Kirkland Signature brand. Now, let me tell you about Kirkland. It's private label, which I should probably read this. Private label and 2020 acquisition allowed Costco to sell goods at better margins, keeping prices low. Let's talk about Kirkland. So my wife and I have an LLC, and we have an Amazon store. So we buy product. You know what? Such as this right here, 48 Laws of Power book, right? And then we put it on Amazon and we sell it to somebody who wants to buy it. The product is actually sitting in our office area or in our garage being stored. And then when a customer buys it, because I'm usually at work, she will weigh this because we have a scale over here. And then she'll use the thermal printer. She'll put it in packaging, which that's over here. And then she'll put a thermal label on it. She'll buy shipping through Amazon or Pirate Ship or whatever we use. And the label will spit out, put it on it, and then she'll mail it to you, right? You cannot sell Kirkland on Amazon in your store because it's a private label. So they own, and what does that mean? That means that Kirkland can only be sold by Costco. So they are 100% the profiteers of that product. And that's important. See, the more you know. Favorite quote: if you raise the effing hot dog, I will kill you. Figure it out. When Jelenic suggested raising the price of the iconic $1.50 hot dog combo. So there's Costco in a nutshell. And one thing I wanted to talk about, the last thing I'll talk about with Costco is this. All right, so if you guys didn't know, Costco, get off of here. Costco in LA is building apartments atop its store. So they are, I'm trying to find a picture of it here, but there we go. So this is what it's going to look like. So they're going to have a Costco, and I don't know if it's going to be to the side of the store like that or not. From what I saw a drawing where it was going to be on top of the store. Um, but um, well, it's showing it to you right now. I guess there's a ad right down there, but get out the way. You ain't showing what I need you to show. But anyway, so they're building apartments on top of the Costco. I was hoping this was going to show it, but can I skip this too? Come on. Now I don't know what this is. That's not even what I'm looking for. All right, so look, the project's going to include 800 apartments. It does say above the Costco warehouse, and 184 units will meet the state's definition of affordable housing. Right? That's what they're talking about. Right? So why is this a big deal? Because it's showing you the trajectory of the company. Costco is not just going to sell food and consumables to people anymore. What they're also going to do is it means they're getting into real estate. If you look, the average millionaire has about 7 different streams of income, and one of them is nearly always, and I mean always, real estate. You typically 8 times out of 10, you'll see stocks and real estate, but 9.5 times out of 10, they're going to have real estate. And companies that get into real estate actually hedge their losses because real estate appreciates in value. So if they lost a ton, had to shut a couple stores, they can always sell the real estate. And because it's gone up in value, they will hedge their losses. It's perfect. But in the meantime, while they're holding the real estate, they're going to charge rents. They're going to collect money in rents. So just think about that. If you're looking for staple companies and you're going to be out here buying shares of stocks, then you have to know the trajectory of the companies. If you own one share of a company, that means you are part business owner. And I know that sounds lofty. I know that sounds like, oh, you're blowing it out of proportion. I just own a piece of the stock. Well, what do you think that is? That share is a piece of the company. If this were a puzzle, without your piece, that company couldn't be a completed puzzle. So you own part of the business. So you owe it to yourself when you're putting your hard-earned money into the stock market to know what your company is doing. And you also owe it to yourself to be one of these people, right? Well, like in Palantir, whoever that was, that I can't remember the person's name, but the person who asked that question to the CTO, you owe it to yourself to be one of them. And you need to pay attention. Okay, was this what I was looking for? I don't think so. You owe it to yourself to pay attention. Kamal D, right? You could be one of these people. Be interested in what your company is doing, because if you're spending money on shares, then you do own part of that company. That's not me being lofty about it, or blowing it out of proportion or embellishing the truth. That is for real. That's what a share is. Are there any questions from the chat? Did you learn a lot? Did you get something from it? I see some people missing now. My Saturday crowd is falling off. I'm gonna have to wake it on up on Saturdays, but this is going up on YouTube. I'm gonna go ahead and edit this and get it up there. But I need y'all to tune in and really be on top of this, because I'm doing this for y'all. I think this is very, very important. If mama and daddy didn't teach you financial literacy, you owe it to yourself to learn. And you are responsible for what you do know and what you don't know. And if you don't know, then it's your responsibility to go get it. So my mom and dad couldn't teach me this because they didn't know. But you can learn it yourself. And if somebody's willing to get up here every Saturday and teach you, tune in. The least you could do is tune in. But anyway, I don't see anything from the chat, folks. So the forge is gonna go cold. I pray y'all have a no. Thank you. I pray y'all have a great Saturday and a great weekend. Thank you for tuning in as always. Give a like on the video when it goes hot, please, just for me, for the algorithm, and share it to somebody who you know it could help. If you didn't see somebody on the live, go ahead and hit the share button and get it to them and encourage them to come on in. Invite them to the Discord. You can reach me by email, theblacksmithpodcast@gmail.com. And the forge is going cold. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great weekend.